That is a right challenge. 10 fish for £100. That's another right old creature, that one. There we go, fish number 10. We'll slip her into the net and we'll find out if that is going to be enough to get us over the challenge threshold of £100, folks. Challenge time today. You join us at the fantastic Cob House Fisheries. We were here a few weeks ago for the UK Junior Angling Championships. It was a fantastic day out, loads of extremely talented youngsters here. Bossman Craig has been on the phone and set us a steep challenge of catching 10 fish for £100. When we were here a few weeks back, as I say, one lad had one over £20. But I do think it's quite a tall order, and with me being a short arse as well, it is going to be an uphill challenge. I was hopefully going to set up some mugging rigs, some short rigs and down the edge, but our lovely British weather has made it like a hurricane wind. So we're mainly going to be concentrating on fishing short and fishing in the edge. Nice simple bait tray, we've got some pellets and some corn. I did get blown away with the submerged footage that we've seen with Jamie. I'm trying to put some faith back into the faithful corn fishing, and I've been told on good assurances that they do like eating some corn here. So we'll try and catch some of those great big lads under our feet and successfully complete the challenge. So my sponsorship isn't on the line. Starting the session, I say a little bit different to what we're normally doing. I've got to be really selective in the stamp of fish that we're looking for. It's not a normal mash condition. I've got a challenge of catching 10 fish for £100. So if I fish long on the bottom, I'm going to end up catching little stockies and stuff. So conditions are limited to what we're doing as well. So we're going to fish short on a top kit with some corn and some micros. So I'm just going to select a nice big grain of corn, a nice heavy one that'll help with that toe. Hook him across the head of the corn, if you like, and we're putting 6 or 8 pieces of corn in our pot, squeezing some fishery micros almost into like a pasty ball and just thumbing that into our medium flexi. And then we're just going to spin round on our top kit, and because those micros are so hard, I don't need to release them on the surface. I can just knock them out in the air, and we're just going to flick our 0.5 power slim into position, and we're just hoping that there's one of those great big resident carp that patrol the marginal shelf sitting there. That is just sitting a little bit low, so I'm just going to slip back in and just pull that back shot up out the way for now. So I'm going to put her in a nice straight line, down we go. Clickers to hand, and hopefully we haven't done too much disturbance to our peg, just getting cameras in position. And we'll just, line bite there straight away. So we see it all the time when we're edge fishing. You miss a bite and they zoom out, so I'm just going to repeat what we're doing there. So there's a few grains of corn in the bottom of the flexi, squeezing that ball of micros in again. Just making sure I'm not tangled around the top. Tensioning up that elastic. Going to clump those micros in, and then we're just going over the top of it. And if the wind does get up, say we are only fishing a top kit and a 0.5 rig, so we're nice and positive. Fishing nice heavy gear. Hopefully tame some of these beasts that do live in this lake. So that's clunked under. I did have a bit of a line bite prior to that, and they are quite lively in here from what I've seen last time round. So I have got sections there good to go, because as I say, we're only fishing, I keep going on, for some large specimens, so there's no need to pull their heads off and rush them. So is he just going to wallow and behave himself? What I'm going to do is ship out anyway and just break my pole in half there, because I say we are only fishing on that top kit in front of us. So it just goes to show it can be a really nice way of starting your session. That short line at different venues is different lengths out. Say woodlands, when it used to be all carp fishing, the short line there was much better starting on a top kit than what it was like where you think of that short line being traditionally at the top kit and two. If there's enough depth of water there and the fish want to be on that top kit line, it's just having a bit of a venue knowledge and knowing where you need to start your match or start your session or start your challenge, shall we say. And I think by the weight of him, he's the right sort of stamp that we're looking for, and a nice quick bite at that. Oh, happy days. Oh, we've had a mic malfunction in the process of lifting him out. And she's a lovely big girl, she is. So she's definitely a definitely a keeper. There we go, beautiful looking fish. And I think that's what you call, in the carp world, a scaly banger.
I think so.
Scaly banger. Beautiful. So we're going to give her, what? It's a good £2, isn't it? I mean £10. So we'll give her 10 clicks and we're on our way, and that's literally first chuck in there on that short line. We were fishing probably 2 minutes, we had a couple of line bites, had to refeed our peg, and then I haven't fed any bait since because it's the start of the session, and I'm just going to pick our rig back up at 0.5 slim again. There we go. Nice big piece of corn through the head, go away Mr. Wasp. Ugh. Nice big piece of corn through the head of the corn. And then we're going to go, say 5 or so pieces of corn, squeezing that ball of micro really tight in that medium flexi. And then just going to tension that elastic up in line with the puller I've got in line with my knee, because it does slope away ever so slightly, and then just from a little bit of a height we put that in, and we're just going to flick that rig in just so we're sitting up the slope as opposed to too far up it, and then just gently down. And then because it's windy and it's towing, I can use my actual keep net as a bit of a bump bar if you like. Not that I need it, but it just keeps my rigs nice and stable and straight. And then I've got my left leg that my top kit will go to as well, so I'm not going too far past where I've put that ball of micros in, because I'll go straight down on the bottom where we want them. And I say, with the fact that we are fishing for big fish, I'm not having to rush anything. I'll happily sit there for 5 minutes. We plumbed up this line as well to fish on the next platform, so that top kit out, but on the next platform, just where it's a nice clean bottom. If you're caught in this depth to start with, naturally they're not going to sit there all day, and it can be really good fishing that same line on the next platform as opposed to just in front of us, or fishing like your traditional short line on your top kit and two and catching those smaller stamp ones. So it is going to plan to start with. Just shipping this one back now. So we started obviously on that top kit line, caught 2 absolute units, and then lost that one that was in the mouth. It's getting a few indications that there was some fish still there, but it felt like it needed a rest. So we've gone on that top kit line at 11 metres, well 10 metres to the next platform. I'm not convinced this one's in the mouth, but they are rather lively. Just exactly the same as what we did on that top kit, as in clump of really hard micros that I'm just moving about so they're not drying out too much. and say 5 or 10 grains of corn and just fishing corn on it. And it's gone straight under and we've connected with the fish. Is it a great big one that we need to go in the net? Oh, oh, that, if I weren't looking at the fish, that was ready to net there. Let's just try that again. There we go. So is it a keeper? Corn's just popped off. There we go, it's unhooked itself. So we're going to slide that one in the net. I say, yeah, that's probably £9 at that. And it feels so. It's just concentrating getting her into the net. Sometimes when they're that big, the head won't come out. So we'll give that a few clicks. And it feels like, I know I'm only fishing on that top kit and we're fishing in, what's that, 3.5, 4 foot of water. But it feels like they want to be in shallower water. As I said, they are normally wanting to cruise about and there's plenty of muggers, but conditions won't allow that today. So I am confident that we're going to catch in that edge, because on the platform leg it is 2.5 foot deep there. So I'm just going to, what's that, 20 grains of corn just on that top kit in front of us, just try and build that peg up. And then we're just going out, just drying my hand on the towel, nothing worse with that corn juice. Just going out on that top kit line but in front of the next platform, making sure my sections are nice and tight. There we go, clumped it in. And then just putting that rig in nice. And something worth mentioning as well, sometimes you all do just, oh, line bite straight away there, squeeze whatever bait a little bit too tight into our pot. And the last thing you want to do is keep like punching your pole. I've seen this loads of times and you end up splitting your section. So when you're tapping your bait out, using a lot of surface area across your hand there, so you're going to do that 1,000 times, you're never going to have any issues with putting your hand through a section, even though these are mega strong sections on this MTX5. So you don't want to do it over a small surface area. Little line bite again there. So there's definitely fish patrolling on that marginal shelf, that first shelf, that top kit line, and just with conditions we are hooking them not in the mouth, and we need to do something to change. So I've tried just going over depth just with a shorter lash, but it's just not right. So what I'm going to do is, I did set up for some strange reason, like a token gesture, fish long on the bottom line, but that was never going to be right to catch some big lads. So I've got a mark on my pole depth wise what we're fishing on our short line with our 0.5 rig. So I'm just going to get my marker, and I've got a 0.75 with a band on, so I can fish like an 8mm. So something nice and heavy that can act as an anchor, and obviously a heavier rig as well, being that 0.75. So I'll just pull this down to where our marker is. So that's good, and then I'm going to pull my buckshot down as well, and then I can get away with a slightly longer lash, and we can just trim this rig down. Just because there are definitely fish on that line, but we're not doing it right at the minute. So I'm just going to grab a nice oiled up 8mm pellet, nice long one. Slip that on, and I'm confident that oh, that was lovely and sweet in my mouth, that pellet was. I'm confident that ball of pellets is right, as in they're going to the bottom, and I don't think that's the issue with the foul look in. So we're just going to persevere with that one more time. Squeeze that in nice. Coming on our top kit in front, half a handful of corn. chipping round to the join, and we're going like middle of that Norfolk reed bed. And now, as I say, we're on that 0.75. Oh, even that's horrible with that wind. And we've got that big heavy 8mm on there, and we'll just see if that change of presentation just results in one being in the mouth. And I'm panicking like it's all going wrong, and obviously we don't want to foul hook them, we want to hook them in the mouth and land them. But in essence, we've only been fishing a short period of time. So as I just fight this wind, we've changed what we've done presentation wise. Oh, not the size of fish that we're after, but just for my own sanity, we've managed to result in catching the fish in the mouth. Just to say, with the conditions that we faced today, it's just moving our rig about too much on that 0.5. So we've got that nice heavy 8mm. And I've just changed to tapping in some oiled up 6mm pellets, and this one's actually, believe it or not, took it on the drop. This 100%, I promise you, in the mouth. It's just wrapped around it. It's not a small fish by any means, but it's not going to be, or I don't think it's one of the £10 fish that we need to reach our magical 10 fish for £100 target. Interestingly, they've all been commons today, bar the little stockies. There we go. Ooh, she might be a keeper. She ain't far off, is she? I've got a gamble that the ones that fit catching the edge are going to be a bigger stamp still. So she's got to be at least £8, she has. If I can get the hook out, just in the scissors, there we go. Nice heavy common, yeah, that's a keeper. That's a keeper all day long. So we've got an absolute colossal fish that's going to put us back on track for our target today. Oh, just make sure she's okay. So just bringing her head up as she slaps me. Still a bit lively. Come on, missus. Hopefully I haven't got that on camera. So that size 14 just looks totally irrelevant, and she's still extremely lively, so we're going to slip her straight into our keep net, if she can actually fit into the keep net. There she goes, beautiful fish. Okay, last fish on that line, that top kit line on the next platform where we changed it to hard pellets. For my own sanity, we managed to catch them in the mouth because it was, with the conditions, it wasn't right for our soft pellets and corn approach and that 0.5 rig. I've been priming my top kit line again, as I say, every time I've been coming in and out and putting like half a handful of corn in, and we're coming later in the session now, so they should start to come in the edge as well. So I'll just go through what I'm going putting in the edge. Handful of corn there, and then I'm going to squeeze, what's that? Like an egg size of micros. It's not an egg shape, but an egg size of micros. Got my top kit in 3. And we're fishing down to this platform leg, and just from a bit of a height so we can make some noise with it, just gonna plop that pellets, and well, those micro pellets and that corn in, and then on my top timer, So I know when that's gone in. I'm not going to give it any longer than 15 minutes without either having a look in on that line or refeeding it. So I'm going to grab my 0.5 top kit line, so the one with the S on the bottom for short. Nice, great big piece of corn. Oh, that one was a bit too big. And we want one with a hard top on him. There we go, and then this pole pot can come off because we're just feeding by hand on this top kit line now. And before we go in, corn in, flick our rig in. And hopefully there is a monster lurking down there for us. And there's definitely been fish in our peg all day, in the swims that we've been fishing, but actually getting one in the mouth, there we go. So I waited for that to go down and stay down in a nice straight line, and then all I'm going to do is quickly feed some corn ready for the next one and then cling on to dear life. That is a great big fish. I've seen him back out the water almost like a walking across the surface. And then I've got my sections there if need be. Straight to hand. Oh, sections on. Oh, there we go. That was touch and go then. I jinxed myself there saying we'll be able to net him nice and quickly, and then you see the other side of the lake. And I say that's why it is important to make sure you broke your pole down in half. If my full 13 metre was together then, I wouldn't be able to get my sections on, and he definitely would have resulted in the fish coming off the hook. So keeping her nice and low. She's back under some sort of control. So just looking down at the timer, we fed that edge line 4 minutes ago. We've hooked her after about a minute of being on that top kit line. So our timings have been good so far. Keeping her nice and low. Great big common. Oh my God, she's an absolute creature. Another colossal unit there. She's behaving herself in the net, but just gonna gently get her in. The only issue we've had here, there's like a board in front of your keep net, so your keep net isn't square to the water, if you like, so you've just got to be ever so careful. That's why I'm standing up and making sure, I'll just do that again without the fish, just making sure that I've got the weight of the fish, and then head first, because that extra kickboard on the front of the platform probably comes out a good 8 to 10 inches, if not a little bit more, and you can end up just kicking them out the peg. So without further ado, we're just going to repeat what we've done there. Great big piece of corn, and we're just bearing in mind that is now 8 minutes. We know there's fish in our edge, and if we don't get a bite relatively quickly, we know we can drop in that edge and we're going to catch one. So corn over the top, rig straight over the top, and that's definitely £15, that one. So that's £75 in 7 fish. As we played that last fish on that top kit line, there was indication that there was fish in the edge that were tailing up, even though it's like 2.5 foot deep, and the water is chocolate and there's a chop on. You could see that there was some there, and the edges are quite deep here on this lake, as in to find anywhere that's quite reasonable and flat. So I just need to go to the end of my section there. I'm fishing a 0.4 pound margin in 2.5 foot of water. Indication straight away there, but that was a line bite, so I'm not going to strike at that. And there's quite a bit of white water there, but using the platform leg as a marker, There's loads of fish in there, in our swim there. Loads of line bites. But I can clearly distinguish between what is a proper bite and what's a line bite there. It's got the full tip showing out the water, and it's a nice big thick bristle. Because the last thing we want to do is foul hook them. So line bite, line bite, line bite. But I can't actually see that there's one in my peg, but clearly there is now, because getting plenty of indications. Fishing really robust tackle again down the edge. Got my favourite 20 to 22 orange slick. There we go, fish on. For taming these beasts. And then 020 to 020, a prototype spade end carp hook in a size 12. And then just a bulk shot on my hook length knot. And then just a nice big single piece of corn over the top. And we're not putting any bait in over the top of our rig, because again, we don't want to foul hook any, which was problematic on our line that we were fishing a little bit further into the lake. So just keeping it nice and low. Doesn't feel, I say it doesn't feel a big fish. It is a big fish, but not a whopper stopper that there can be in this lake, and that we've seen already on that short line. Oh, just a corn juice made me slip then. And just looking at my clock there, I fed the swim 5 minutes ago, and we were probably only on that line a minute before we actually had that bite. And I don't feel like loads have exited out my peg since, so I don't feel like I need to refeed. I think we can just go back in with a single piece of corn and catch one straight again. There she is, head first. Cracking fish again. Coming down onto the spreader block. Easy girl, easy. So she's all head and not a massive tail on her, so we'll just slip her into the net. I think we can get away with putting a slightly smaller specimen in the net. Nice big grain of corn again. Hopefully this rain doesn't actually set in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. And then we're just going back in again with that piece of corn in a nice straight line. Down we go. And if conditions allowed, I would have liked to fish a light washy rig in the edge when we're not fishing tight up against the bank, but I say, just with it being blustery and loads of tow and stuff, I've had to fish a heavier rig that I'd normally happily fish if I was fishing tight up against the bank. I don't normally like fishing a heavy rig when the fish can get behind us, but it's just to match the conditions today. There we go. Nice quick bite again. But you can see how they do massive weights on this lake when they rock up down the edge. They're absolutely massive. There we go, nice scoop with our landing net, coming down onto the spreader block. no, but yeah.
Well, that wasn't rolling for some reason.
Oh, right,
The
okay.
wasn't going, so I've not got them 2 bites.
Oh, neither of them?
I don't think so.
Oh, no way.
First one and cut out. So it's pretty good down there now, though, isn't it? I mean, you're not going to. We can always take one out later.
Yeah.
Only when you want to put it, so.
Yeah.
What we'll do is permission.
I know. It's a little bit deeper than what I would have liked to fish in the edge for carp, being like 2.5 foot deep. But when I've repotted it then, I've just put some big particles in, just neat corn this time, because I think the micros are attracting them in, and they're just, even though I squoze it into almost like a ball of paste, the micros, I think they can still just get a bit focused on them. They're like great for pulling fish into the peg, but when they're actually there, they've got something bigger to eat that they can't waft about as much. There we go, that didn't take long. So no indication that there was a fish in the peg, and then, so before we were getting loads of line bites when I put those micros in. Potted like a quarter of a pot of neat corn in, sat there probably 30 seconds and then just whacked straight under, nice clean bite. Bringing around onto my top kit. Keeping it nice and low. Just feel the head like knocking against the elastic. And then if we get our landing net ready. There we go, fish number 10. Nicely hooked in the top lip. We'll slip her into the net and we'll find out if that is going to be enough to get us over the challenge threshold of £100, folks. So, challenge completed. We've had 10 fish for £110. It wasn't easy fishing by any means, and they are quite moody here by all accounts. Lack of venue knowledge maybe impaired us slightly, but I don't think so. It's the wind and the tone, the conditions have dictated what we needed to do. Early on, as I say, we're getting some foul hook fish on that 0.5 rig, changed it to a 0.75, and we were perhaps fishing even only a top kit out in 2 deeper water. We've changed to feeding bigger particles in the edge and on that top kit line, neat corn, and the stamp of fish was better, and it was nice clean bites and quick bites, so you can see how you can mass a weight really quickly at venues like Cob House. A massive thank you to Guy and the team here at Cob House. They're doing a fantastic job, and I'll definitely be back soon.